Hello and welcome to the another session of this course Marketing Management Part 1. So, we are in week 5 and this is lecture 2. We are discussing about buyer behavior. In the previous session, the first session of this module, we just introduced you to the different types of the market and corresponding to that different types of buyer behavior, like classification of the markets and the corresponding buyer behavior. So, we talked about two types of market, that is business to consumer market, this widely or commonly abbreviated as business to B2C markets, and then you have business to business markets, organization selling to another organization. So, that is called B2B market, and B2C is buyer behavior in that context is studied as consumer behavior. When we talk about buyer behavior in industrial markets or the B2B market, it is more commonly known as industrial buyer behavior. Then we talked about the differences between a consumer and a customer, basically the difference in the person who purchases the product and the person who consumes the product, and what are the implications of these two things. Then we have come on to this formal definition of the consumer behavior, where we talked about that consumer behavior is a basically act of individuals directly involved in obtaining, using and disposing of economic goods and services. After this, we have started looking into the basic buyer behavior model, and then we have looked into the different stages of this buyer behavior model. It consists of 5 broad stages, which starts with need recognition, information search, followed by evaluation of alternatives, then purchase decision and post purchase behavior. We talked about in the previous session, like Professor Jayant Chatterjee talked about his first car purchase, and later basically the car he purchased after his first car. So, second, third and other cars, number of cars that he have purchased, how basically his purchasing behavior has changed or evolved over the period of time, to illustrate the different stages of buying process. And then we started going in depth into each of these stages of buying process. The first stage is need recognition or problem solving. As you can see in the slide, we talked about that need recognition is basically a gap between your current state and the desired state, and the difference between two is basically a motivation for a consumer to act or a customer to act. The level or degree of motivation will actually determine the way probably a consumer does what he does on the next few later stages of the buying process. Then we have looked into this various input variables that go into this need recognition part. There are two types of stimuli, internal stimuli or external stimuli, that basically helps consumers to realize their need or their problem situation, and this could be based on consumers past experience, consumer characteristics, consumer motives, environmental influences and past marketing stimuli. So, this is what we have discussed in the previous session. This was a quick recap of the previous session. We will go into the second step of the second stage of this buying decision process, and which is the second stage is information search. As you can see that in the second stage of information search, consumer basically search about the ways the collect the information, how he can fulfill his need, how he can solve the problem. So, related with this information search is the defining concept called consumer involvement. The formal definition of consumer involvement, as you can see on the screen, is given as heightened state of awareness that motivates consumers to seek out, attend to and think about product information prior to purchase. So, basically it is the way that consumer the degree of awareness or degree of his alertness to look for the information to solve basically his problem or to fulfill his need, and it can be also understood as a degree of importance or interest consumer attaches to purchase consumption corresponding to an offering. So, the more basically a consumer is involved into a buying process or buying decision, his information search will be very different in that case from the buying process where he is not interested or his information search is very limited. And these two basically different types of involvement are classified as high involvement situation and a low involvement situation. You will see that consumers information search is very different across these two types of involvement, that is high involvement and low involvement. While in high involvement you will see that breadth and depth of information search is very wide and very deep. In low involvement situation you will find out that information search is sometimes very limited or sometimes it is not at all there. Based on this basically type of involvement and the purchasing risk basically or the nature of the problem, we can classify the buying situation in three types, and this is something which is very important for you to understand, is that there are three types of buying situation. One is like new task buying, when you are going to purchase something for the first time. So, you do not know basically exactly about what product form or what product category to basically choose to satisfy the needs, neither you know basically exactly that what attributes are important there, and also you do not your information about the brand is also less. So, that is basically extended problem solving situation where you have to basically search a lot for coming out with a solution to that problem situation. The second type of buying situation is when you have already purchased something, supposedly this is your second car purchase. So, compared to your first car purchase, you will find out that in the second car purchase maybe you will not look for a different make of the car, however you will look for a different type of within the same make or within the same brand, you will probably look for a different kind of or different category of the car basically. While your first car might be a very basic car model or basically hatchback model, the next model probably you will look for would be probably a sedan or probably a SUV say kind of thing. So, you will see that this is a basically a modified rebuying situation where you have understood the product as well as probably the different offerings, and based on your previous experience you are able to understand what exactly you want. So, according to that this is a limited problem solving situation. Based on that your information search will be limited and you will remain focused. Then you have straight rebuy, like when you have purchased probably something in the past which has satisfied your need, then you go back again to purchase the same thing again, and there is no change in the purchasing criteria or the brand or the variant that you are going to purchase. This is quite common when we talk about FMCG certain FMCG product categories, things like our daily grocery related products, like purchase of milk is a basically a sort of habitual buying. So, every day when you go, you do not start from your home thinking about which brand of milk you will purchase, or probably within a brand which type of whether you will purchase a milk which is of pure, full cream or probably half cream or probably a without cream kind of category. So, you know basically your requirements, you know the brands and you have experienced all those things. So, you understand the buying situation pretty well. You just go to the shop and ask for the brand that you want or the variant that you want. Now, understand across these three buying situations your user involvement or the consumer involvement, buyer involvement is changing from a higher to lower side. In a new task buying situation or extended problem solving situation, you will find out that consumer involvement is very high because of the purchasing risk is also high, or probably information about the buying situation or the offerings is very limited. On the other side, if you look at this limited problem solving thing, like your involvement might be somewhere in between high and low. So, medium involvement situation. On the other side, when we talk about limited or habitual buying, you will see that straight rebuy or habitual buying, you will see that the buyer involvement is very less, or information search is almost like very is at a very minimal level, or almost sometimes nil in certain situations. And corresponding to this buyer involvement, you will also see that that the purchasing risk is also in the basically the order of the buyer involvement, like the buyer involvement and the purchasing risk have a inverse relationship actually. So, based on these two situation of consumer involvement, higher involvement and low involvement, what is the buying process, or how do you basically behave, what is your behavior pattern. So, you will see that the two things differ as shown in the slide, that in high involvement, first it starts with the information, the knowledge about the buying situation, and then you will see that in high involvement first you form your beliefs and then your attitude is formed, and then based on those beliefs actually you basically act. So, cognition, attitude and behavior is like think, and I mean like first you basically know, then you think and then you act. On the other side, when we look at a low involvement situation, it is like you know and you act and then you think actually. So, basically you can understand by two examples, like if I talk about your first car purchase, you will see that first you will first you will know the different conditions of buying a car, and then you will understand what you want, what are your resource constraint, and what are the different offerings. So, that is a cognition in that car purchase, and then the next step is that you will form basically your attitude or your beliefs that about the importance of the different criteria and how the different brands basically fare on how they get rated on those criterias, and then that will basically help you in assessing which, I mean what are the basically the different brands. Then basically you act on that. On the other side, look at your basically consumption of a product, like a dining out of on one day along with your family or a friend. So, you look for the possible option and you see that there is a new restaurant which has come out. So, someone tells you through your friends through your friends or your family people, you come to know about that there are a restaurant which you have already visited, but there is a new restaurant which has come up. So, the next thing that you do is like, okay, I mean like it is obviously a usual dining situation that you dine quite often along with your friends and family. So, you say that let us go and try it. So, that is what, after you know about the restaurant, you go and basically dine there, I mean have dinner with your family, and then based on that experience actually you form your attitude, like what was my experience about that restaurant, how basically what kind of menu it has offered, what was the kind of serving, what was the basically ambience of the restaurant, what was the service quality, and all those things will help you in assessing that restaurant vis-a-vis probably your existing options. So, you will see that in low involvement situation that your behavior pattern is like first you know and then you act and then basically you form your belief. Now, I have compared this extensive problem solving versus habit here on their characteristics, and according to that in the next slide I will show what are the marketing implication of for the same thing. So, you will see that in extensive problem solving situation that the information being searched is, as I have already said, is the depth and the width both are very high. So, you basically look for more and more information, or possibly within the given time and the resources how much you can more information you can get. Then you basically you will see that the extensive problem solving is in the case of infrequently purchased product, like first time you are buying something, or you are buying something about which you have a little knowledge. These are basically higher priced products, and your user involvement, the consumer involvement is high. You will see that in this kind of extensive problem solving situation, your behavior is like our evaluation of alternative is more of a compensatory decision, like we will go into much more depth of this compensatory versus non compensatory evaluation, but at this point of time I can tell you that compensatory is like overall basically the rating or overall evaluation is a sum of all the sum of basically performance or sum of the rating across different attributes of a brand. On the other side, in case of habit, you will see that little or no information processing is there. These are frequently purchased product, lower price products, low level of consumer involvement, and model is more of non compensatory. So, if you are habitual of something and you do not get exactly what you are want, or particular attribute or a particular brand, you will just leave that thing. So, that is a sort of non compensatory model. Then the marketing implication, or you will see that the generic things which come out as an implication for marketing in the two situation are that an extensive problem solving things, like you will find out that the distribution network is selective, and then after sales service is important, and sales support is frequent. Personal selling is very important because you are looking for the information, you are looking for information which suits to your needs. So, you will look for someone to consult you and help you in basically finding out the exact solution of what you want. And then advertising is more on the education side. You will see that it is more focused on telling you about the importance of the different attribute, and basically how basically a particular brand fares on those important attributes. Then you will see that in extensive problem solving situation, people are less price sensitive, they are more sensitive to the other needs or the other important criteria. You will find out sales promotion is not that effective at this stage. On the other side, when we talk about habitual things, I gave you the example of milk. We would look for something which is very widely or easily accessible in the case of milk. So, you will see that extensive distribution in such cases, you will find out that service requirements are very few, and personal selling is ineffective, it is not required, you know what you want. And then advertising is more focused on the reminder and the reinforcement side, that to tell you like you need something, or to give you a recall like you want something. So, that is the kind of thing. Sales promotion is effective to prompt you to basically purchase more or to switch, then higher price sensitive is reflected in the case of habit. Now, based on basically the kind of information that is being sought out by a consumer, and from the origin of that information we can categorize that information in 4 different types of sources. The first one is the personal source, that your family, friends or your acquaintance, they tell you about product or the service or the offering. Then commercial sources are like the company originated information sources. Then the public source is unbiased, or the sources which are widely available, like newspaper articles and all those things. And then experiential is like your own experience based information, like what you have already experienced. So, you will find out that these 4 sources are differing credibility and the nature of information being provided. You will see that a person who is confident about himself or herself, and he understand what he wants, probably will prefer more on, or probably will rely more on the experiential information, his own experiences, and then probably on more on the personal and the public sources. However, it may happen sometime that we may rely more on the others' experience than our own experience, when we think that we are not an expert of a certain kind of product or we do not know much about a certain kind of product or the service. So, we rely when our technical knowledge is low, so we rely probably more on the expert side. So, there probably this personal or the public probably sources might be more relied upon, but majority you will see that when people will rely on the experiential sources of information. Now, one important thing, a very exciting change which is happening in the area of this information search is a new type of intermediary are coming into the picture. John Hagel and Professor Jeffrey report in 1997 in their famous HBR article have coined this term about infomediary, like intermediary which provides the information. So, infomediary is basically a web based information service provider that gathers and organizes large amounts of data and acts as an intermediary between those who want the information and those who supply the information. So, these are basically the mediator of information flow between the customer and the company, the supplier and the customers. This could be of two types, like the one who only supply to the information to the customer, or probably the one who supply the information back to the company about the customer, which the company can use to modify its offering or to design its new offering and probably be more competitive. And you will see that in the case of intermediary supplying the information back to the company, that these intermediary might not be supplying the individual's information, that personal classified information will not be supplied. However, overall information or overall data or processed or analyzed data might be provided to the company. So, you see there are so many companies today in different product categories and different industry sector which are working as intermediary, and this one is basically the US and all other countries. Then you have in India, you will see the similar type of concept being adopted by zigwheels.com. Then you have a company like mysmartprice.com that help you to basically compare the prices and compare the different thing like shipping time and to the consumers. So, that help you basically in making your decision, because you come to know about the price and the product features and the service delivery and the kind of warranty or guarantee policy that the product or the service provider has, and what are basically the different policy attached with it corresponding to the same offering. So, you can compare as a consumer across different things. One thing which is that is what I was talking about, one thing that is happening because of this intermediary is that the balance between this customer and the company is shifting more towards the customer side. Customers are more empowered. So, they know basically at one click that they can compare the offering from the different suppliers, and that empowers them to come out with or to take a more informed decision, probably satisfy their needs better than probably which could have been served without these intermediary being present. Now, I show you an example of this company zigwheels.com. I do not intend to praise or basically criticize or endorse any of these companies which I taken as an example, but may showcase you to understand what intermediary does. You can see that it offers a customers to know about the different products available in the market, what are the associated service along with that product or the service. They also basically facilitate the sellers to basically offer the customers to have those service. They offer the customers the reviews of the other customers. So, these all information is very helpful for a customer who is going into a buying situation to understand about the different offerings, what is important in the purchase process, and thus basically help the customers or empowers the customers in their purchase decision process. So, with this I conclude this session here, and when we will meet in the next session, we will discuss further about this buying decision process and the things which are related or which affects the consumers buying process. Thank you very much.